Happy Father's Day to all of you dads and granddads and actively involved uncles and teachers and other incredible bringers of male energy and wisdom into the lives of young people. You all know that my dad stood up here and he spoke about many wise and wonderful things long before I did. And so it's easy to see the impact that my dad has had on my life. And that's for you, by the way, sir. Just in case you were wondering, the big pink bag is yours. It's really easy to see the effect that he's had on my life, but dads and other dad figures, please know that your mark upon the lives of the young people that you've guided through the years, it's just as powerful. And today we thank you sincerely for all that you've given us and done for us, and we love you exactly for who you are. Now, you know, last Sunday, I had such optimism about all the wonderful things that this week's talk might hold. I was imagining all of the wonderful ways that Spirit would show up in my life all week to help me convey exactly what I need to so that I'd meet my goal and you would leave here today fully trusting that there is a spirit of love, a divine hand, a loving mind behind everything that happens. And then last week began happening. And I was less and less clear about what to do and say as each day passed. But I remembered what we learned last month during our Hope series, and appropriately, I remained hopeful. Because what we learned is that although Spirit doesn't create pain or suffering or any of the other horrible things in the world, it doesn't waste those things. God always uses them as a way to move into greater good. But I have held space with so many people this week who are scared and angry and who just want to see things change. And when I've told these people that I know God's here in the mess, I have been yelled at a lot, especially when I refuse to budge. Because God is working through all of this. I don't know how or to what end, but I know that this is leading towards something good, something wonderful, something miraculous. But you all have to take my word for it, right? You come here hoping that I can make it all clear for you, and I can't. You need to make it clear for you. All I can do is tell you the truths that I know and suggest tools to engage them for yourself. Tools like journal pages, like the ones I've been giving you each week for the last 3 and now 4, which reminds me, Ms. Mona, will you please pass out this week's page? How did everyone do with last week's exercise? Anyone experience any breakthroughs or observations that you didn't know were in there? The question which gave me the most pause from last week's journaling prompts was, if Spirit were speaking through the events of your life, what message might it be trying to show you today? Please don't forget, we have these pools up here. Oh yeah, the pebbles in the pools. Now that question got me thinking, and I would like to answer that by extending a simple invitation. Take a deep breath with me. Let it be slow. Let it be real. Let it carry you into this space, not just physically, but spiritually. Let your breath remind you that you are alive. And in your aliveness, something divine is already working. There's been a lot of emotion in the air lately. You feel it, I feel it. Fear, anger, confusion, pain. People want answers. They want safety. They want clarity. And in the absence of those things, it's easy to believe that the world has gone dark, that perhaps spirit has gone silent. But I want to offer something radically gentle today. What if the divine hasn't gone anywhere? What if God is waiting not above or outside, but within? Waiting for us to remember that we are the evidence of love at work. What if the proof of spirit is not in lightning or rescue or thunder, but in us? Little individualized expressions of God placed here to be instruments of the divine. Now, one person has already gotten up and visited the bowls of water placed at the front and rear of the sanctuary, if you haven't yet. If you have big thoughts and big emotions, please do. Get up when you feel called to. You're not going to interrupt anything. It's designed this way. Just come on up. Everybody's watching me, not you. There's one in the back as well. Okay? Again, there are small stones in baskets next to both of the pools. You're invited to pick up a stone and in silence place into it your fear, your anger, your worry. Then drop it into the water, one stone at a time. Lay your burden down. Watch the ripples. That's what our thoughts and actions do. They ripple. Each fearful thought sends a vibration into the world. Each kind gesture sends one too. We do not live in isolation. We ripple into one another. Let yourself be cleansed of fear and anger and confusion and doubt so that you can become something more. As you continue to form your feelings into little individual thoughts so that you can place another and another stone into the water, I want to tell you a couple of true stories. Stories which I called to mind through parallels which people drew to recent events during several conversations I was a part of this week. Corrie ten Boom was a Dutch Christian watchmaker in her 50s when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. Her family believed that all people were God's children, and so they began hiding Jews in their home. They built a false wall in Corrie's bedroom. They trained the people that they hid by having emergency drills. They saved hundreds. But eventually they were discovered. Corrie and her sister Betsy and their elderly father were arrested. Her father died shortly after. She and Betsy were sent to Ravensbrück, a notorious women's labor camp. The conditions were hellish, but Betsy's faith never wavered. She spoke often of forgiveness, of light, of vision, a vision that she had of a home where survivors could heal. Betsy died in that camp, but Corrie survived. And after the war, she fulfilled her sister's vision. She opened a healing house. She preached forgiveness. In one extraordinary moment, she even met and forgave one of the guards who had tortured her. Corey said, "There's no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still." In a place designed to break people, Corey chose to embody love. She prayed with the women at the camp. She shared what little food she had. And after the war, after the suffering, she forgave one of the very guards who tortured her. Her suffering did not destroy her, it refined her calling. That's got a lot of weight, doesn't it? Through her, thousands found healing, hope, and peace. It wasn't that she was special or magical in the eyes of the world. She was simply someone who said yes to being a vessel. And in doing so, she became proof of God. But she wasn't alone in answering the call then. There were others. A German soldier was assigned to guard a train of Jewish prisoners bound for camp. He had long since buried his conscience under layers of propaganda designed to ensure his endorsement. But when he heard a child crying uncontrollably inside one of the boxcars, something stirred in him. He approached and, against orders, opened the door just enough to see her face. She couldn't have been more than 6. She was starving and alone. He asked her name. She didn't speak. She just held up her hands, empty and shaking. He stepped away and looked around, and against every regulation and instinct for survival, he smuggled her food daily. He even arranged for her to be transferred through an order that he forged to a civilian orphanage where he knew some nuns were hiding children. He never told anyone. And for years, he thought that those moments had been meaningless. Decades later, after the war, he was dying in a hospital. A nurse with a kind smile tended to him, and it is through her that we have this story. She spoke German, but with an accent. One day, she sat at his bedside and said, "I think I knew you once on a train when I was very small." The man, like me, wept. That one act of courage had lived on, and now it returned to comfort the one who had risked everything to make it. He had become the hands of God for her, and she unknowingly became God's return touch for him. Neither he nor Corey performed miracles. They followed the impulse of love. And through them, God became visible. These aren't just heartwarming tales. They're reminders that Spirit doesn't act apart from us always. Spirit acts through us. In a world full of fear, it is not strength of will that saves us. It is the strength of love. And faith tells us that it is only through loving action, not fear, not outrage, not force. It is only through loving action that God is revealed and good is rewarded. You are not here to wait for miracles. You are the miracle. My method of writing these talks just kind of getting out of the way and letting Spirit guide my mind and my hands toward the lessons that I meant to teach. That process and practice revealed to me why I always see God in every moment, why I know so unshakably that there really is a divine hand guiding everything lovingly toward good. I know it because in answering my calling, in walking as love in all that I say and do and think, God has been revealed to me. I know because in seeking to show God to the world as me and through me, the world has shown me God as them, as you. I see the beauty in all of you. And I know that same beauty is in everyone. That it is never hidden. We simply refuse to see it through the haze of what things appear to be. I know it because as I have chosen to seek and know God as an instrument of Spirit's divine urging, I have seen more and more evidence proving it all along the way in so many different forms. Those of you who placed stones in water today, and for those who came late, pools of water are here with stones beside them. If you have feelings that are too heavy, feelings that are holding you back or down, approach the water at any time. Take a stone, put those feelings into that stone and release it into the water. Lay down your burdens. Those of you who already have, you let go of something, didn't you? You let go, you trusted, and you saw that the emotions that you released in the form of that stone rippled and radiated throughout all of the water, didn't it? In fact, all of the emotions placed by all of the hands into that water radiated throughout the whole. We need to recognize that each stone, each impulse of hatred or anger or rage that we send into the world amplifies and sends more hatred and anger and rage to the ends of the earth. But there's another way. I'd like to share this letter with you, a letter that I didn't even know existed until last night when I was writing the very end of today's talk. I had looked at the talk and I said, oh boy, we got 7 pages. That isn't going to work. And all of a sudden this landed in my lap. Some say that it isn't true, but I heard about it from Kirsten Stendevad, who heard it from the serious Danish spiritual teacher Jess Bertelsen. And it is beautiful, so I choose to believe it. And it is perfect for Father's Day. It is a letter from Albert Einstein to his daughter. He wrote, "When I proposed the theory of relativity, very few understood me. And what I will reveal now to transmit to mankind will also collide with the misunderstanding and prejudice in the world. I ask you to guard the letters as long as necessary, years, decades, until society is advanced enough to accept what I will explain below. There's an extremely powerful force that so far science has not found a formal explanation to. It is a force that includes and governs all others, and is even behind any phenomenon operating in the universe and has not yet been identified by us. This universal force is love. When scientists looked for a unified theory of the universe, they forgot the most powerful unseen force. Love is light that enlightens those who give and receive it. Love is gravity because it makes some people feel attracted to others. Love is power because it multiplies the best we have and allows humanity not to be extinguished in their blind selfishness. Love enfolds and reveals. For love, we live and die. Love is God and God is love. This force explains everything and gives meaning to life. This is the variable that we have ignored for too long. Maybe because we are afraid of love because it is the only energy in the universe that man has not learned to drive at will. To give visibility to love, I made a simple substitution in my most famous equation. Instead of E equals mc squared, we accept that the energy to heal the world can be obtained through love multiplied by the speed of light squared. We arrive at the conclusion that love is the most powerful force there is because it has no limits. After the failure of humanity in the use and control of the other forces of the universe that have turned against us, it is urgent that we nourish ourselves with another kind of energy. If we want our species to survive, if we are to find meaning in life, if we want to save the world and every sentient being that inhabits it, love is the one and only answer. Perhaps we are not yet ready to make a bomb of love, a device powerful enough to entirely destroy the hate, selfishness, and greed that devastate the planet. However, each individual carries within them a small but powerful generator of love, whose energy is waiting to be released. When we learn to give and receive this universal energy, dear Lisa, that was her name, we will have affirmed that love conquers all, is able to transcend everything and anything because love is the quintessence of life. I deeply regret not having been able to express what is in my heart, which has quietly beaten for you all my life. Maybe it is too late to apologize, but as time is relative, I need to tell you that I love you. And thanks to you, I have reached the ultimate answer. Your father, Albert Einstein. Again, I did not know that letter existed until ending the talk last night. Everything else that came before it was already on the page. And it perfectly paralleled my point. If that isn't proof that there is a divine hand guiding these things that I'm teaching you, I don't know what is. As you leave the sanctuary today, you will be given the chance to choose another stone, a larger one, thanks to our base, David Lacey, who donated them. That larger stone will have on it a word or a symbol representing love. It is not a souvenir. It is a commission. It is a holy reminder that you are no longer only reacting to the world. You are here to reshape it. You who are here with me today or who are listening online, if you choose to answer this divine calling, join me in repeating this affirmation so that we may move forward from here charged by love as love. Repeat, I am the proof of God in this world.
I am the proof of God in this world.
Where I walk, love walks.
Where I walk, love walks.
Where I serve, God serves.
Where I serve, God serves.
Where I forgive, healing begins.
Where I forgive, healing begins.
Through my breath, my hands, my presence, Spirit lives and moves and blesses.
Through my breath, my hands, my presence, Spirit lives and moves and blesses.
I am not waiting for light.
I am not waiting for light.
I am the light.
I am.
Let us pray. Beloved presence, Infinite One, thank you for flowing through these hearts. Thank you for whispering in stillness, for moving in unseen ways, for guiding us not with force, but with love. Let us leave this place not just comforted, but commissioned. Let us become the ripple of divine good, the evidence of Spirit in human form. Let us walk with the calm fire of knowing we are the proof the world is longing for. And we choose love. Amen. And so it is.